Hey, what's up, guys? Riley Chase here, and I'm making a little presentation because to kind of answer a common question that I get, and it's kind of a variation of does my startup idea suck? And basically, people on Twitter a lot of times will ask me about what I think about their idea, and so this is kind of just like covering that and like what I think of different types of ideas like social networks, marketplace. Do I think you should build a B2C or B2B SaaS for enterprise? And so these are the kind of questions that I see. And the reason people ask me about it is because I built a small startup on my own, and I started with just $500, which I spent on like a WordPress theme, a couple plugins, and I did the rest myself. And I launched Hostify in May of 2018. And in the first month, we got a couple customers, and it just kind of grew slowly from there. Eventually, it turned into something I went full time on. I raised a little bit of money from Earnest Capital, and now I've built the business to a team of 5 people and over $50,000 a month in recurring revenue. So that's kind of why some people reach out to me with their ideas, but really kind of the point of this presentation is actually to kind of just talk about why you shouldn't ask me what I think of your idea. Definitely still do ask me. I'm always happy. I like talking about ideas. So I'm always happy to talk to you about it. But yeah, this is kind of like why you might not want to ask me, and certain things that I can help with and what I can't help with. And these are a lot of my opinions too. So anyways, getting right into it here. Like I said, first of all, like, why are you asking me about your idea? Just because I had success in one specific area, like the business model is B2B micro SaaS for SMBs, doesn't mean that I know anything at all about starting a social network, a marketplace, B2C, anything, B2B SaaS for enterprise. That's a whole different thing. If your startup idea requires money to build the MVP, that's not something I did. I built my MVP on my own. I knew a little bit or enough how to code to do it on my own, and I didn't hire anyone, so I didn't invest anything other than $500 up front. If your startup idea doesn't have a clear path to revenue in the first 30 days, it was really important for me to not only be able to launch my MVP in like less than 90 days. My 30 days was my goal, but I launched my MVP, less than like 3 months after I had the idea, and I had revenue in the first couple of weeks. So very different business model if you plan to build something where you don't expect to make money for the first year or something like that. And so basically, if your idea involves any of that, you're asking the wrong person. And not only am I not going to be able to help you because I don't have experience with it, but I'm gonna do my best to talk you out of it because I think these are bad ideas. And that's just my opinion, though. Of course, people have built successful social networks and marketplaces, B2C apps, B2B for enterprise. It's all been done. But if you ask me, I'm going to try and talk you out of it. And that's kind of part of what this is about, too. So why not build a social network, for example? A social network is like super hard to pull off. The biggest problem is that it just doesn't generate revenue. So you gotta build up to a lot of users. You gotta come up with an ad plan. How you're gonna sell ads or sell their information. I just don't like the social network business model. And this is a picture here called the Ladders of Wealth Creation. I really love this picture that was created by, as far as I know, it was created by Nathan Barry, the founder of ConvertKit, and he has a blog post over here that I'll link to that goes into more detail about this idea. But it's basically saying, the easiest thing is on the left side, and then the hardest thing is on the right side. And so, one of the easiest things, is like, getting a salary, working for a company, or working hourly for a company, then a salary, and then take notice here. The top rung of selling products, which is like the hardest thing to do, is creating a marketplace or a social network. So just keep that in mind. That's just kind of a reference, I guess, to, it's some of these things are hard to put actual factual numbers on, but it's pretty widely accepted that building a marketplace or social network is extremely difficult to pull off. Okay, so why not build a marketplace? So similar to social network, like I was saying, it's very difficult. There's also a revenue problem. I would say it's a little bit better than a social network because you at least have like a path to revenue by default, which is taking a percentage of the transactions going through the marketplace, whereas the social network, literally there is no revenue plan other than advertising or selling user data, neither of which are good revenue models in my opinion. But of course, big companies like Facebook and stuff, they've made great business out of it. But for a bootstrap founder, that's going to be a hard one. But anyway, so with the marketplace, it's a challenging two-sided problem. You're trying to find both the vendors and the customers, and you have a classic chicken and egg situation where the customers aren't going to come to your marketplace if there's no vendors. The vendors aren't going to be interested in selling anything and spending the time to set up their store if there's no customers. And it creates a unique challenge now. I do know success stories of bootstrappers that have pulled this off, and you can definitely do it. And there's some software out there. I can't think of the name right now, but there's a lot of different types of software out there that can, allow you to set up a marketplace overnight. And so it's definitely possible. But like I said, I'd consider it better in social network. But in general, I'm going to recommend people not to do it because it's a tricky one. And then the revenue problem also is that you're taking that small percentage of transactions. So you need to build up a massive marketplace that's doing a ton of volume before you can squeeze out a little bit of profit from it. So why not B2C SaaS? And this is, like Spotify or something. And this is actually where people typically come up with ideas is in B2C because they're, a lot of people that are trying to build their first SaaS business or whatever, they're thinking in the consumer mindset of like, what would I want to buy, like Spotify or whatever for like $2 or $5 a month. And so that's where a lot of ideas come is from your own experience. And if you're not a business owner, you're not having a lot of business owner experiences, or you're not coming across a lot of business owner problems. And so that's where a lot of these ideas come from, I think, is from your own experience. But the problem with B2C is it's difficult because of revenue once again. So would you rather try to convince 2,000 people to pay you $5 a month, or 204 businesses to pay you $49 a month? Like say you want to make $10,000 a month, you got to convince 2,000 people to give you $5 a month, which might sound easier because it's less money, but trust me, it's actually harder to get anybody to pay you $5 a month who doesn't own a business. It's much easier actually to sell a business $49 per month to help them, just increase their productivity a little bit, and they can make money off that. Versus for a consumer, that $5 a month is always an expense, and every time they see it on their credit card, whatever, they're going to be like, oh, I probably should cancel that because I didn't use it this month or whatever. So finding 2,000 customers instead of 204 is a much bigger challenge. Would you rather be supporting 2,000 customers or 204 customers? So think about how many requests you're going to get, and trust me, the B2C, they're going to have a lot more questions. They're going to want a refund. They're going to want this and that, and they're going to have all kinds of support questions. Versus the business, they typically sign up, and this is really generalizing a lot, but you get the point that like businesses, they, from my own experience, everything's from my own experience, but in my experience, having a free plan that was consumer focused and a business plan that charged $49 a month, the business customers were much more do it themselves and less support issues. And then the final one here, which is super important for SaaS, is churn. Like I said, that B2C user, you're charging him $5 a month. Every time he sees it on his credit card, he's like going to think, I should probably cancel that. It's an expense that I'm not really getting my full value out of that. And with B2B, it's like you can just charge them $49 a month, and they don't use it a couple months in a row. It's like whatever. It's like nothing to them. If they're charging $150 an hour for their time or whatever, obviously their business, they're making money, and $49 a month is nothing they're concerned about in their business. Their overall business of, if they have a couple employees, they're, making a lot of money, and $49 a month is not a big deal. So churn's a big one. So B2B enterprise, why not B2B enterprise? A lot of people think, it'd be a lot easier to just find 10 customers who pay me $1,000 per month instead of finding 204 small business customers who pay $49 a month if I want to make $10K a month. Well, it's actually, it gets a little more complicated than that. So with B2B enterprise, and this is again speaking from my own experience, I have a business that mainly sells to the SMBs, but then I've had a couple of conversations with enterprises, and it's never worked out. So I can't even say we really have enterprise customer, like a true enterprise customer. And then, from my free plan, that was from my B2C experience, was having a free plan on our website. But anyways, with B2B SaaS, It's a long sales cycle. You're going to need a sales team who's going out, talking to these people, building relationships. And it's not going to be something where you have an SEO plan, inbound marketing plan, where they just like come to your website and they pull out their credit card and they sign up without ever talking to you, and then they just get started. It's a whole different business. And so you need a sales team. You're going to have a lot of meetings. Enterprise customers are going to try and ruin your business because they're going to want to have custom features. They all want custom this, custom that. And if you spend all your time building these custom features, which are not needed by your other customers, then you're really a service business. You're not a product business. And so creates a bunch of problems. They want to have special billing requests. They don't want to do credit card. Can you customize the invoice? Can we pay you 30 or 60 days after you've already provided the service, or 90 days? There's just a huge pain in the ass. So, and then if you get into the position where you have, a 10K revenue, you quit your day job and you go full time on it, and you only have 10 customers. What if, 5 customers cancel? And then, you lost half your revenue, and instead of, you have 204 customers and 5 cancel, you don't even, it doesn't even matter. So that's why B2B SaaS for enterprises is something I'll try and talk people out of every single time. Unless you're going to, your experience is building a sales team, you're going to raise venture funding, and so that's not my experience. But yeah, so for like a solo bootstrapper, I'm going to try and talk you out of this. Okay, so you've made it this far and you still want to build a social network marketplace, B2C or enterprise SaaS. You're super set on that and you think that you can pull it off. Great. Just don't ask me about it because I can't really help you with it. But what you should do is go out and find people who have successfully done it, not me. And hopefully you can find some people who successfully built a B2C enterprise SaaS and marketplace social network, and they've shared their story about the steps that they took to do it. And you want to go out and find as many of those people as you can, follow their stories, read every single one of their books, listen to all their podcasts, and you want to really just let that soak in your brain, just let it brainwash you. And that's how you really become one of them. You got to think like they think and do the things they do. And so if you're following me and you're trying to do the things I do, then you're not going to, it's not going to work. So do what they're doing. And sorry, I don't know anyone outside of B2B micro SaaS because it's not, that's what I care about. So I don't follow these people because I don't really care what they're doing. Okay, so if you've made it this far and you still have a B2B micro SaaS for SMBs idea and you want to know if I think it sucks, the first thing I usually ask you is am I your target customer? If I'm not your target customer, it really doesn't matter what I think. I could tell you it's a great idea. I could tell you the idea sucks. And neither of those really matter because the only thing that matters is if there's a small, portion of people in the world, out of 7 or 8 billion people, there only needs to be 1,000 people who have this problem and see your solution provides value. So it really doesn't matter if I'm not one of those people. What I think doesn't matter. And the other thing that I would say is have you put it through the meat grinder? And so this is a blog post that I'll briefly cover and link to, but I really recommend reading through this. This is how I came up with my idea for Hostify. And basically it's just a series of questions, only a few questions. They really get you thinking about, important parts of the business and if it's going to work as an idea or not. And so you put it to that test. Hopefully you've put at least 10 other ideas to the same test. And hopefully this was the best idea you could come up with of all the ideas you've ever had. It's the best idea you've ever had. And so let's take a look at that real quick. So this is the blog post. It's called How to Get Startup Ideas, the Meat Grinder Approach. It's by Tyler Tringus. He is the founder of Store Mapper, which he built on his own, bootstrapped it to $400,000 a year in revenue or so, and sold it to SureSwift Capital, and then went on to start his own firm investing in startups, including Hostify, my own startup. He invested in my startup, so he knows what he's talking about. And he wrote this blog post. It's the best blog post I've ever seen for coming up with startup ideas. So these are the questions. I'll just go over them real quickly. You can read the blog post for more information, but basically, can I make this? Are people spending money on it? How will I get my first 25 customers and then the next 250? If it works, will it be sustainable? And am I the right person to build this business? These are just some of the questions in here, and there's a bunch of other sub questions. And so definitely read through that. So my next pointer here is, have you read Micro SaaS ebook or Zero to Sold? And have you listened to at least 100 SaaS podcasts on Indie Hackers or the SaaS podcast? I think this is really important because this is getting in other people's head that have done it before. And what you're going to find from doing this is they're going to say a lot of things that were different. They're going to say a lot of things that were specific to their business. They might even say, you might even listen to 2 different podcasts or read 2 different books, and they have something that's contradictory, where one person says do this, the other person says do that. But once you've listened to a really huge volume of information on this subject, you're going to, in your head, kind of subconsciously, you're going to get kind of brainwashed to like think how they think and do what they do. And that's the whole point, is you want to think like they think, do what they do. And the things that contradicted and stuff, those are kind of just going to fall away. And you're going to remember the things that they all had in common, all the things that they all said to do this, they all said to do that. Or maybe, most of them said to do this in this situation. Most of them said to do that in that situation. And so it's really building this like mental model and just kind of like brainwashing yourself into like, thinking like them. It kind of sounds weird, but it's like, that's what you want to do. You want to be like these people, right? You want to be successful. You want to have a lot of money. You got to think like these people think. You got to do what these people do. And so I think that's one of the most important things I did, was just like really absorbed everybody else's stories. And I'm super grateful for everyone who, shared this information and all that. So highly recommend it. And so basically, to sum it up, whether I think your idea sucks or not, it doesn't matter. At the bottom here, I said, build a quick, cheap, but value providing MVP, charge money from day one. And if you can get people to pay, to pay real money, then the idea doesn't suck. It's as simple as that. If you build it and people pay for it, it doesn't suck. And if you think you need to take a big risk in order to build it, like raising money or quitting your job or don't do any of that stuff. So everything else you can figure out as you go. Anyways, so to kind of wrap it up here, I didn't mean to like scare anyone away that I don't want them to send me their ideas. Keep sending me your ideas. I love talking about business. In particular, if you do have questions about micro SaaS stuff, bootstrapping, raising a small amount of funding to go full-time on a side project, I love talking about those things in particular. My main point here is that my opinions are super biased towards what I've already found success in, which is micro SaaS. And most of the time, even then, my opinion's still not going to matter. But if it is a micro SaaS for SMB's idea, I might be able to provide some feedback that could be useful. And also know who to listen to. This is obviously important in life, not just in business, but in general. Don't listen to anyone's advice who hasn't done it themselves. Don't ask what your mom thinks. Don't ask what your friends think. Go and ask the right people and that have actually done it, what they think. And also even successful people. So, people might have had success in one area of their life, but they don't necessarily know, for example, I've had some success in the micro SaaS space. Doesn't mean that I know how to start a B2C physical product company or something. So just know who to listen to. Don't take advice from people who haven't really done it or haven't done it in a long time. There's a lot of people that like they had success 10 years ago and then they created an e-course and then now they're selling coaching services, and don't listen to those people. Just listen to people that are doing stuff right now and what they're talking about right now, and people that did it recently within the last couple of years, because things change really fast in technology too, of course. And then finally, like almost all business advice is contradictory to other business advice. So only listen to those people that, built the thing that you want to build. And when those people contradict themselves, just listen to the things that they're all saying that are the same. And that's pretty much all the advice I can give on, whether your startup idea sucks or not. And let me know what you think. And my DMs are still open on Twitter. So hit me up, send me your ideas. I'd love to talk to you. See you.